Hey everybody, this is Chris. In China, the country that I'm currently living in, a lot of people are learning English simply to pass exams or to get certificates. And even when they pass the test, often they can barely speak the language at all or understand what people are really saying. So learning a language becomes boring, tedious, and an almost pointless pursuit of a very short-term goal. But learning languages, I think it's fair to say, has completely changed my life. So I wanted to make this video to explain why I think you should learn a foreign language too. Let me start by giving a few pretty bad reasons for learning foreign language. And the first one is to get a return on investment or to make money, basically. If you think about the length of time it takes to learn a language up to a functional business level with good comprehension of what people are actually saying, and you calculate the time or cost that it would take to get to that level compared to the extra salary or the money that you could earn from it, then most of the time you'll find that the ROI, if you like, of learning a foreign language is pretty low. But knowing a foreign languages may have benefits or opportunities that come with it, but it may take many years to get to that level and really reap the financial benefits. And if you're only really thinking about short-term business, then it's probably more convenient and cheaper as well to hire an interpreter and translator for important situations like that. And the second fairly poor reason, I think, for learning a foreign language is simply to pass a test. Yes, you might need a good TOEFL or IELTS score to get into a university, for example, but it's a pretty short-term benefit of learning foreign language, and you still need to be able to benefit from the course when you get to the country, to be able to research in the language and be able to participate in discussions and social events when you get to the country to study. So otherwise, just having a piece of paper with a test score on it is pretty useless in itself. And I found that a lot of people choose to learn languages for different reasons, either to boost their abilities at work, to study abroad, gain more from travel experiences, or to speak to a partner or a family member, or maybe even just out of pure interest in some aspect of the culture, like French cinema or literature, or even, for example, Japanese anime, or whatever it happens to be. But I think there are a lot of other very powerful and more subtle things that you can get from learning a language that I want to talk about as well. The first thing is that you can broaden your field of vision and you can get access to a lot of information that you wouldn't have access to otherwise. So no matter where you live, the amount of information that you have access to is severely limited, and it's often restricted by your culture or the place or the system that you live under. And I'm not just talking about the obvious places where there are restrictions, if you get what I mean. In my mind, it's really important to always get different perspectives on things, and sometimes these perspectives can come from different cultures or countries or outside views. You have to hear about something from as many sources as possible to really get an idea of the facts of the situation. Otherwise, you may only be getting one side of the story and really just finding out what people want you to know. For example, if I wanted to know about British history and find out something new, get a different perspective, I think it would be pretty interesting to read what the French have to say about it in French, for example. Or if I wanted to know about market conditions in China, wouldn't it be more informative to read about that market in Chinese, right from the country itself? Another thing that you can really get from learning a language, obviously, is access to great literature, films, music, and culture in the language itself, because a lot of things are translated, but also a lot of information might not be available in your native language, let alone all of these great books and movies and music that come out of the culture of the countries where they speak your language. So learning a new language opens up a lot of doors to huge varieties of literature and art and all sorts of areas of content written in that language that you're learning. And even if you can read this content in your own language, then it might not feel the same as when you're reading it in the native language that it was written in. The experience can be very different. So that's another big benefit that you can get. Another point is that you can meet and interact with a lot of people that you wouldn't be able to interact with otherwise. I've certainly found this to be true with learning Chinese. There are many people in this world who simply don't speak English at all. And I've been able to speak to many people in foreign languages that I wouldn't have been able to speak to otherwise. And I've been exposed to different opinions, because many of these people maybe have stayed in their own country and they're not very internationalized. So you really get different perspectives on and different opinions about things that you wouldn't really hear if you were only hearing them in your own language. I've also been able to get new business opportunities, jobs, and opportunities that I wouldn't have been able to get otherwise, and also make a lot of friends that only speak the foreign language. So that's another benefit. The fourth one that I want to talk about is, that I've written down here, is to challenge yourself and keep your mind sharp. Because thinking in a foreign language and learning a couple of foreign languages can really keep your mind very sharp, because the act of actually translating or thinking in a foreign language will keep parts of your brain active, and it can also be pretty fun to challenge yourself on a regular basis. You'll always have more to learn, but that's part of the fun as well. The sense of achievement that you get when you're able to understand native speakers in a foreign language and able to express yourself freely in that language yourself as well, and you feel like you've almost reached an epiphany point, is really difficult to describe, that sense of achievement. But it's really one of the benefits that you can get as well. The other one that I've got here is to express yourself in more ways than you were able to before. Because some people say that when they learn different languages and they speak in different languages, sometimes they have different personalities. And to a certain extent, they adopt the culture of the people or the countries where the language is spoken when they're speaking that language. And learning a language that's as different to English as Chinese, I've certainly found this to be true, because there's a lot of things that you can say in Chinese that you simply can't express the same way in English. And even if learning a foreign language doesn't really unlock another side of your personality, it will at least give you greater flexibility and more ways of expressing yourself. And when you're around somebody who speaks both of the languages that you speak, or multiple languages that you speak, and you suddenly find yourself throwing in foreign words and expressing yourselves in different ways you didn't think possible, then that is really where the beauty and the magic of it happens. So that's another benefit, being able to express yourself in different ways. And the last one that I want to talk about is, I think that when you learn foreign languages, it can also help you to become a person with greater empathy for other people. Because when you learn to speak a foreign language as an adult, you have to train your brain to handle completely different ways of thinking about things and expressing things, different words, grammar, and expressions. And there may be things that you have to say completely differently to how you would express them in your native language, and new concepts that don't exist. And you'll be exposed to a lot of new ideas and ways of thinking about things that you wouldn't have had contact with before. So I think if you are able to speak a language yourself to a high level, it can really help you to understand other cultures, think in other people's shoes, and have more empathy for other people. And during this process, you may even become more open to different ideas or different opinions, which is a really good thing as well. So being able to speak multiple languages doesn't make you better than anybody else, that's for sure. But it does give you extra access to a whole range of things in that language or culture. And it's like, in my mind, being a member of a special club, only that anybody can be a member, as long as you have the patience, the curiosity, the ambition to want to learn that language. In many ways, it's like a special privilege, but it's open to anybody. You can challenge yourself, keep your mind active, boost your powers of self-expression. You can learn to think in other people's shoes, understand different cultures, and get access to a lot of new information, art, literature, music, you name it. You can also meet new people, create new opportunities, and most importantly, you can have a lot of fun while doing it as well. So really, if you think about it like this, you can get a lot more from learning a language than you can calculate in concrete financial terms. Obviously, learning a language takes time, and there's always going to be more to learn. And you can't just do it for a year and then stop, or take a test and get the certificate and then just give up. You have to live it, love it, and breathe it every day, just like I do with Chinese and other languages that I'm learning. But if you keep going, you'll be surprised how quickly you can progress. And yeah, that's it really. So just do it. Start learning a language now, and then keep it up and try to make it a part of your life, even if you can spend only 15 minutes a day thinking about it or working on it. In the long term, I'm pretty sure you won't regret it. Okay, so that's just my opinion. If you have other ideas or opinions, feel free to share them in the comments, and it would be great if you could help me to like this video, share it around, and also subscribe to my channel as well. And thanks for watching. Take care, everybody.